Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Reckless speculation. Reckless speculation.
Yes, let the reckless speculation season continue here on this bonus episode today of Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Why are you guys so hard on this team? Because the Lions are about to go to the Super Bowl. The Packers just got to the divisional round, okay? Like, time to go, Vikings. Let's stop being content with 9-win or not even 9 wins, middle of purgatory, first round, getting beat by the Giants at home. I don't know how you can watch these playoffs and not be sort of fired up about the complacency the last 5 or 6 years at TCO Performance Center. That's one of my biggest takeaways, I guess. I probably should have said that on the last episode we just did. But how do you watch these games and think, yeah, let's just run it back again and see what happens. Let's pump another $80 million into the same quarterback, and let's bring Harrison Smith back at $20 million. Like, ugh.
I think it's very fair to have real questions when you watch the best of the best in January. It's fair to have questions about the Vikings roster construction ideas. Like, and I do think they care. I do think they're trying. It's not like the organization itself in lots of ways is run well, but there's also some glaring flaws that I'm not sure that they totally get. And so when you see that and how these teams, the top teams, are constructed, and I'm talking beyond QB, I'm talking just the construction. Like, that's where I say, do the Vikings take this, watch this and take notes, or do they think we're pretty close here? Because I got news for you. When I watch these playoff games, these real playoff games, there's a lot of work to be done here. Like, this is why it's a really good time. If you're going to take a step back for the greater good, I'm all for that. If you understand what you're doing. And that's where I think it's fair to question them.
Yeah. Well, part of the path forward is adding good players to your roster and having a better 53-man roster. And the Vikings, even though their cap situation is it's still kind of jacked up because they have, as of right now, $50 million in dead cap tied up in Kirk Cousins, Danielle Hunter, and I'm missing somebody in there. But they've got like 20% of their team salary cap projected for next year tied up in players that aren't under contract. So, but it's a better cap situation than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, when they were over the cap going into the offseason. So they've got some breathing room. And over the next couple months, so we're 7 weeks away from the NFL league year, maybe even less than that. We're like 6.5 weeks away from the NFL league year starting, which means free agency opens up. So we're going to hit you. I'll do the first one here today we're going to hit you with some lists of free agents that might make sense for the Vikings. Mm-hmm. Judd, you can do the next 5. Then Declan, you can do 5, and we'll keep pumping these out every couple weeks. So this is the first dive into 5 free agents that could make sense for the Vikings today. Presented in part by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Like having if you're talking about a free agent pickup, okay, if you're a business owner looking for the best insurance company to partner with to sign on to a multi-year contract, Federated is just that. Their corporate culture is grounded in equity, integrity, teamwork, and respect. And these 4 cornerstones create the foundation that supports all of their interactions and decision-making. As a business owner, you want that peace of mind, knowing that a company with 100+ years of experience is providing that guiding hand. Go to federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Are you ready for a list?
Let's do it.
Okay, a speculative list. Let's start with number 1 here. Defensive tackle Justin Madubuike, Baltimore Ravens, 26 years old. He's a former 3rd-round pick. So from the interior last year, Madubuike had 64 pressures and 14 sacks. And remember last week, I think it was Thursday, Brett Coleman had the tweet, the nugget, the statistic that showed the Vikings had, by a mile, the worst interior pass rush win rate in the league. They had to manufacture pressures last year through blitzing and scheme. If you had a guy like Justin Madubuike, much like when they had Kevin Williams back in the day, and John Randall was a great interior pass rusher, right? I'm not putting him on the Hall of Fame level, but Madubuike is the best interior pass rusher on the free agent market. He could play alongside Harrison Smith. He would essentially jump into the Jonathan Bullard position, but do it much better. And here's the contract. 4 years, this is PFF's projection. 4 years, $92 million, so $23 million a year.
Okay.
And about 3 of those years are guaranteed, so $60 million in total guarantees. So that would be your biggest signing in free agency. I don't know that you would sign him and bring Danielle Hunter back. You could make it work financially. But what are your thoughts on Justin Madubuike or the idea of a ferocious interior pass rusher?
Well, I love the idea, but I think he's going to get paid more than the projection because a guy like this is going to be a hot commodity, and I'm sure that the Ravens will try to keep him as well. But I love the position. Like, yes. Now you could also draft a guy in the first round. He wouldn't step in and be the presence that this guy would immediately be. But I think, as we talked about on our first episode of PD today, there is a case to be made that 11th pick very easily could go towards this position. I think ultimately, because of the demand on the market for players like this, though, that projection will probably be exceeded because of the competition. And I think that comes to the question of where are you as a franchise right now? And do you want to go out? This feels like a splash signing that would be if you felt like, okay, there's just a few pieces left. Like, this guy's going to turn us around completely. So I love it.
He's pretty young, though. He's 26.
But I'm saying as far as the price goes, as far as the cap hits go, things like that. No, he's really good. He's really, really good, which is why I think he gets paid huge. But I think it becomes, if I'm the Vikings and I'm constructing something and I decide that I'm going to use the 11th pick on a defensive tackle, which is 5 years of team control, I think I probably go that route. But this feels like a move that the Vikings have made previously. I just don't know if the timing is right now.
Well, they haven't made. They got Linval Joseph 10 years ago, and that was a great signing for them. Dalvin Tomlinson definitely fit in need as well. And then Harrison Phillips was solid, but certainly, again, probably third on that pecking order in terms of
Michael Pierce,
Michael
Pierce, who's back
Michael
there
Pierce.
now, I think. Yep.
So they've dealt in this well, but I think Madubuike would be. That would be a huge signing. That would be not just money wise, but that would honestly help fill out a good chunk of this defensive line that is completely unknown. And I think resource-wise, cap-wise, you're probably better off, like Judd said, drafting the one, having him cheaper for 4 or 5 years instead of spending it all on Madubuike. But, plug and play, it would make a lot of sense, but you wouldn't have much other cap probably to play with too much.
And, to Judd's point about, are you in a position where this is one of your big pieces to push you forward? I think if you're not, then I'm questioning giving Justin Jefferson $35 million versus trading him for 2 first-round picks.
Fair discussion.
If you decide, you know what, we're just fully honest assessment, we're just at least a couple years away, and we'd rather not handcuff our cap with Madubuike into his age 28 season. Okay, then you should trade Justin Jefferson and just get really bad for a year. But I don't think they're there. They've got a left tackle, they got a right tackle, they've got some pieces on defense, especially if Hunter comes back. So I would be looking to fix this problem either with my number 11 pick or with the biggest chunk of my cap space. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, number 2 here. In no particular order. Just throwing some names out here.
That's great.
Just a little reckless speculation among 3 friends.
On a Monday. We're not even near Thursday. The lifestyle is just, it's spilling over to other days of the week randomly now.
Well, it's like, Sunday Night Football, NBC's Sunday Night Football, when those games are on a different day, they still call it Sunday Night Football. It's like, it's Sunday Night Football on a Friday.
Yeah. On a Saturday afternoon. It's not even night.
On a Tuesday, around brunch time.
The lights aren't even on.
Okay. The Vikings, outside of Danielle Hunter, who again is a free agent, have 0 organic pass rushers on their team. They don't have anyone outside of Flores dialing up schemes. They don't have anyone that can just get after a quarterback. Bryce Huff, edge rusher from the New York Jets, is the next guy on my list here. 26 years old. He is a true pass rush specialist. He's not good in the run game. So he's kind of a limited snaps guy in some ways.
Third down guy?
I think not just third down guy, but you'd probably be careful putting him out there in some situations where you're getting hammered in the running game.
Sure.
He was undrafted in 2020. But last year he wound up with 60 pressures and 8 sacks in his limited pass rush specialist role. He had a top 10 pass rush grade among all edge rushers, according to PFF. But unlike some of the other guys in that top 10 who can be on the field all the time, like Aiden Hutchinson and Max Crosby and Danielle Hunter, he's really bad in the running game. But if you're really good at getting after opposing quarterbacks, you can make, as PFF projects, 3 years, $40 million, so $13.3 million a year, and $28 million total guaranteed. So you'd be guaranteeing basically 2 years of that $13.3 million contract. So he wouldn't be the perfect player here, but you might be able to get a really, really important commodity for a pretty reasonable price.
So Hunter leaves your SOL in a sense, and instead of trying to replace him with a really high price guy, you say, because I mean this is not a bad contract.
Or do you draft defensive tackle, you draft one of the Texas kid or the Illinois kid, Jer'Zhan Newton, with your 11th pick.
Yep.
And so now you've got that interior pass rush for cheap. You bring Hunter back, and then you get Hunter a pass rushing partner in crime on the other side in free agency. And you draft a quarterback high in the second round, late in the first round, trade up.
That's very intriguing. Like, and again, that gives Flores, like, if you do that, now you're probably getting closer and closer to your personnel quality matching what he can do. Like, because it's not, you can't ask Flores and say, hey, dude, can you just be a miracle worker every season, right? So, yeah, I could definitely see that. Draft a defensive tackle, sign this guy, bring back Danielle, probably ideally like on a 3-year contract, and he's going to break the bank probably, but this does not. So I think from a plausibility standpoint, this one actually makes sense.
Now, I do believe the Jets under Robert Saleh run more of like a 4-3 base, so this might be a bit of a transition to whatever you would call this Flores defense. It's not quite a 3-4, but
pin your ears back
different.
Is what we call it. Pin your ears back and rush that quarterback.
But it worked for Hunter. I mean, Danielle Hunter was a hand in the ground 4-3 guy, right, for a long time.
Yeah, he only played 42% of snaps for the Jets last year, but when he was on the field, he got home a ton, which is exactly what they need. This also, and we'll probably talk about this in coming episodes and in future episodes on Purple Daily on Draft, but what is the Vikings' plan with Andre Carter II, who was, this kind of rare find out of Army, was mostly mostly just kind of this developmental prospect. If he takes a big leap, and I'm sure Judd will have his field glasses on him for OTAs and minicamp and all that stuff, because he might be this crazy dime in the rough, but I mean, you might get super creative with guys like Bryce Huff or Andre Carter II figuring out ways to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, because it was him
right now.
Him and Ivan Pace. Yeah, Judd has for the audio audience. Judd has the binoculars right now.
Yep, I've got them out. They're always ready.
Because it was Andre Carter and Ivan Pace were the big like featured undrafted free. They gave chunks of money to those guys.
So he was, I think part of the problem there was he was not in great shape. Carter was, so evidently the training that you do for his service is not the same as football. And so he was considered a little bit doughy for football purposes and things. But that does mean that if he spends, the spring and summer doing what he should do in the weight room, and there's probably no reason to believe that he won't, that it could pay off. So to me, it's a flyer still, like you don't know for sure. But I'm intrigued by paying what looks to be a pretty fair price for a guy that can, as we love to say in football, get home consistently.
Yeah. I do have 3 more names, but since you give me this opening here, maybe Andre Carter needs a little Livia in his life. Maybe I don't know. Just if he's looking to get in the best shape of his life, maybe he could use a helping hand.
If in fact, look at Sports Dad right there. Thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. That's a couple of years ago. They helped me drop 40 pounds. And if Andre Carter were to call me right now, he were to say, you know what, I need some consultation.
Dad.
Our trainer, our athletic trainer just got fired. Who should I call? Kevin O'Connell. And he's like, call the Sports Dad. Sports Dad knows a lot of stuff about kicking, about weight loss. I would tell him, Andre, you've called the perfect place. And I know you're a pro athlete, but you signed a UDFA deal. So you're probably trying to save, which is awesome. How about this? Andre, the first 3 months are free. Livia, the first 3 months are free. And let me tell you about their brand new medical weight loss option. This could be a life and game changer for a lot of folks because it helps to suppress many of the cravings that make weight loss so difficult. Andre, have I got the program for you? Now go to livea.com or call them at 855-GO-LIVEA, livea.com, changing lives from athletes to who knows. If you want to lose the weight, Livea is going to help you.
And since we're talking about living a healthy lifestyle here to start 2024, let's talk about AG1, which has become a major staple for my day throughout the week. I recently changed from, it used to be for me a scoop in the morning mixed with my water. And now I do it more like along with lunch, kind of middle of the day, to just give me that boost. So AG1 is like nutritional insurance to give you that boost. It's a foundational nutritional supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, immune support. So I discovered AG1 6 or 7 years ago, and it has just been, unless you're Tom Brady and you're just eating like super clean all the time, and you can just rest your head on the pillow and say, yep, I got all the nutrients the old-fashioned way. I need some help. I need some help getting those 75 high-quality ingredients that give me the important daily nutrients. If you would like to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Travel packs are super clutch. I'm pretty much all travel packs now. Go to drinkag1.com/purple daily. That's drinkag1.com/purple daily. Had a listener send a picture to us of their AG1 packs and their starter kit. And if you have the same experience, let us know how it goes. Declan as well is jumping on board too. So hit us up if you've tried AG1 because we'd love to hear about your experience. Let's get to the rest of the list here. Let's go to the trenches here. Offensive line. It's time, guys. It's time to stop messing around, especially if you're going to bring Kirk Cousins back. But even if you're not, if you draft a quarterback, or let's say Cousins walks and goes to Atlanta, and now you're on like bridge quarterback and rookie quarterback, and it's like ancient Ryan Tannehill or whoever else. You're going to want a reliable interior offensive line. And for years and years, the Vikings have kind of skimped, right? They did draft Ed Ingram with a second rounder, and technically Ezra Cleveland was converted as a second rounder from tackle. But maybe this is the year where they go and splash around for, say, a Kevin Dotson, 28-year-old from the Rams. Steelers for 3 years, then Rams last year. So I'm going to read you this write-up from PFF. Kevin Dotson, who, by the way, was the second highest graded guard in the entire NFL last year out of 80 qualified guards. So you're getting a dude here. Dotson was traded from the Steelers to the Rams last offseason, and what first appeared like an odd fit should have instead been a signal that Sean McVay was reinventing his offense to much success in 2023. McVay pivoted from a wide zone rushing attack
Football.
to a heavy gap scheme. And Dotson has been a picture-perfect fit. He was always a strong pass protector, which carried over as well, and he was very effective in the new run-blocking scheme. Well, I can't think of a better team in the NFL than the Minnesota Vikings to overhaul whatever the hell they've been trying to do running the football the last 2 years.
Yep.
With Kevin Dotson as the reliable, let's say, left guard in this situation. So he's played both, by the way. But I think, and here's the price.
Yeah, you're
4
right.
years, $69 million, so $17.2 million a year. He'd instantly be one of the top paid guards, if not the top paid guard in the NFL. $41 million guaranteed. But you're not drafting guards high. Free agency is where you can overspend and just get that peace of mind on a badass left guard.
So of all three choices thus far of like things I would do, and all of these guys, would clearly be great fits because they're very good players. This is the one I've been politicking for the longest. And I think we have been going back to the radio show. I think we go back 4 years with this of saying, because there's always a guard or two that are really just studs to want to kick your ass in the trenches and then kick your ass again. I love this one. Yes. Dalton Reisner is a free agent. He was okay. He's okay. Cleveland was okay. Ingram's a second round pick. So and he's going to continue, if we like it or not, to get a chance, in my opinion. I love this. Left guard, ass kicker, stabilizer of the entire line. Imagine him by Christian Darrisaw at left guard. Now you got two just guys that want to beat you up. Yeah, this is my favorite so far of all your three.
Really?
Defensive tackle.
Over Madubuike.
Well, I think you can draft a guy.
Okay.
I think you could draft a guy at. I think it's more plausible to try and draft a guy at 11. If you're going to get a quarterback, trade back in. Okay. The defense or the pass rushing idea I like, but again, this is a third down guy, so his snap count is not going to be huge, and he's going to be he has a particular set of skills, and he will find you and kill you, but only on third down. Dex, I love this one. I'm going guard right now.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me if they want to beef up this line somehow. And look, it was a much better spot, I think, last year too than it has been in a long time. But at the same time, you got to protect your quarterbacks, and you also you need depth, as Royce says. Like, one of these guys is going to get hurt. You are not going to get all through all the regular season with 17 games from year and five. If you can, that's awesome for you. But it's not going to happen. You're going to miss time with some offensive lineman injuries. So I think just having enough bullets in the chamber, essentially, with offensive guards and linemen, take a chance in the year. I would be on board for signing a guard this summer. Or this summer.
Yeah, this spring, summer.
Summer.
In a perfect world, you would be getting through the draft your main football roster nutrients, right? You'd be getting your quarterbacks, your edges, your corners, your defensive tackles, because if you can hit on those premium positions in the draft and now you get those guys for 4 or 5 years cheap, that's great. And then in free agency, okay, my roster still needs some fixing here, so let's not mess around. Let's not, for guards, for safeties, for centers even, just go pay for it. These, that Kevin Dotson is really good. And then I'll give you another one here too. I'm gonna go back-to-back guards. So number 4 on my list. Okay.
Football.
Robert Hunt, 28 years old, Dolphins last year. Mm-hmm. He is one of the top overall guards in the NFL the last couple of years. So this is from Pro Football Focus. He was the 6th rated guard out of 80 last year, and then 12th out of 77 in 2022. Now, he's been a right guard for the Dolphins, but I think with these guys, they can be pretty interchangeable for the most part. It's not like moving a center out to tackle or something. PFF projects 4 years, $70 million, so also $17.5 million a year so pretty much the same price tag, with $42 million guaranteed. He is equally good at run blocking and pass protection, according to PFF. Robert Hunt from Miami.
Yeah, Dotson or Hunt. I love this. I absolutely love this. Why? Because one, this helps to address your run game, which is a mess. And you're right. I mean, I think one of the biggest stories that should unfold as training camp draws closer is going to be, what have you done? Like, what have you done to a run game? Because the one thing that we've seen is you can't not have one. Like, it's not plausible to be like, well, we throw the ball really well, and that's what we do. You have to have a run game. A guard who wants to beat you up gives you at least a really good opportunity to have a run game. Your defensive tackle would address this as well. But the other thing a guard does is it very much helps with your toughness. Mm-hmm. It very much, that's the thing. The cliche is you build with the lines, because that's where you get tough. Like, you have good players, but they have to be tough. Guards are traditionally, they just breathe fire, man. They just want to get at it. And I'm biased. Football. I'm biased because in my days, which you guys might recall, lead Vikings beat writer for the Star Tribune. You guys might recall that, and Phil did the same thing. We covered Steve Hutchinson.
Yeah.
And the mark that he left, seeing him on a daily basis, and he could be scary. That guy was snarly. He could be great too. But that guy was snarly. But the impression that left on me of this guy sets a tone. Like, he set a tone, and that was, we are going to be tough. Yeah, I love this.
Who's setting that tone in the Vikings locker room?
And on
Dotson,
the line, who
Hunt.
sets it right now? Who sets it right now? Who
Brian
do you
O'Neill,
look at?
Probably Brian O'Neill.
But he's sort
Christian
of Christian
Darrisaw's getting there. He's still pretty young, but he's gonna.
I feel like the interior guys, though, I feel like they're meaner.
Who's the boonie? Who's the
Alex? Yeah. Who's the boonie? Like, who breathes fire?
Yeah. And then I'll give you one more here. It's a running back. I think I know what Judd's answer is going to be, but This is the 5th guy on my list today. And you can include a running back or not on your list of 5 in a week or two. But I'm including a running back.
Don't worry about that.
Tony Pollard.
Okay.
Oh,
27 years old, Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Now, I think we learned he wasn't a train wreck last year, but I think we learned he should not be a featured running back that's getting 300-plus touches in a year. So he needs to be part of a rotation of some kind. And most running backs are kind of that way. It's like as soon as you get over like 300 touches, you start to Derrick Henry, different story. But the problem was Pollard went from being like a 150 to 200 touch guy to being a 300 touch guy last year. And his yards per touch went from like 6 yards per touch the previous 2 years down to 4.3 last year. He excels on third down. Bring him in. Here's the projection. 3 years, $24 million, so $8 million a year, $15 million guaranteed. But you'd have Ty Chandler and Tony Pollard as a reliable sort of 1-2 punch and a guy that you know can excel and play on third down. Now, Alex Madison's still under contract. That's okay. It's a sunk cost. I'm just kind of moving him off as my third running back.
What's the price tag again on Pollard that you said?
It'd be $8 million a year with basically 2 years guaranteed. Age 27.
I sign up for this.
I
would sign up for this.
It's not a long-term deal. It's not $14 million. It's not absurd.
Right. So is Chandler your 1 and Pollard's like your 1.5?
No, they're both going to get about 150 touches.
I don't hate it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I do think that the run game has to be addressed. And I mean, that starts at the very top. So yes, they're if I recall right, in the game that Dallas just absolutely routed the Vikings here 2 years ago now, Tony Pollard had a huge game. Mm-hmm. And he does there are attributes to his game that I think the Vikings completely lack right now. Now, O'Connell would have to use those as well. And I feel like there have been times where he doesn't do things that you think that he would do from a play calling standpoint. But this does intrigue me. Like they need to address this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a player like this would start to make life simpler on Jefferson, Addison as well. So I guess I would have to look long and hard at the cost, but I don't hate where your idea is coming from at all.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Doesn't break
it's not
the
huge.
No, it's in 2 years. 2 years, $8 million.
Yeah.
Like I'd
that's
sign
not
up
huge.
that every time.
Yeah, I think as long as you can kind of go like year to year or maybe 2 years with running backs, it's these big 4 or 5 year where you're guaranteeing 3 years, but this is the type of thing that if you can afford it. Now I think you address some of these other trenches positions first before you would go and splurge on a running back, right?
Yeah, this would be like just a quick trip like sandwich or something, right? Like this wouldn't be dinner. This would be like a snack.
But you could, you could go get dinner if you wanted to, but that's a read for a different show.
No, but I'm saying that's a guard.
Yeah, quick trip.
I don't talk about this. This sounds like a 6-pack of Glazers to me with Tony Pollard and Ty Chandler. This sounds
well,
great.
That's not bad. That's not bad, actually. I like that, Declan. Oh, you love the Glazers. And you're so skinny, it really, really pisses me off sometimes.
He loses weight when he eats 6 of those. It's just ridiculous.
He loses weight when he has the flu.
Football, yeah!
There's the list.
That's a good list. I like your list.
I know. So we initially were going to debut a new segment on this episode of Purple Daily, but I think we should gather the requisite sound bites before we do that. Okay. We're going to debut the hard count tomorrow on Purple Daily. But I got to go get some sound bites. I'll handle that today, Dex. I've got a couple saved in my phone.
Blue 80.
White 80. Blue 42.
Balls.
We're looking for a place to put non-Vikings football and other discussions. And so we have created a new space for that starting this week on Purple Daily. So we'll debut that tomorrow. But yeah, hit us up in the YouTube comment section. Who are some free agents? So Pro Football Focus just put out their top 150 free agents list. Let us know, are there any positions or players you would say the Vikings have to come away with this guy or that guy, or you're going to burn your Vikings gear in a barrel, stream it live on social media. Hit us up in the YouTube comment section. And also a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple goes a long way too, of just spreading the word about this show and helping us climb the rankings and whatnot. So thank you guys for making this one of the most listened to football podcasts in America. Bunch of crazy Vikings fans. We'll see you guys tomorrow.